Soaring number of overdose deaths from fentanyl.
And that 4 people die each day from fentanyl overdose.
Fentanyl has become the #1 killer of people between the ages of 18 to 45.
It is manufactured in China. It is assembled across the border.
We are in the deadliest moment of the deadliest drug epidemic in American history.
What if the world's most powerful nation was quietly destroying itself from within? Real life in America. Land of freedom, fortune, and endless opportunity, now hides a tragedy few want to see. Mind-blowing facts about America's fentanyl epidemic reveal a paradox almost beyond belief. In a country that sends rockets to Mars, millions are losing their lives to a chemical measured in milligrams. In a nation known for innovation and progress, hopelessness spreads faster than hope itself. What could possibly cause such collapse in a place built to lead the world? This documentary goes beyond statistics and headlines to explore the haunting contradictions of real life in America, where pharmacies meet street corners and wealth stands beside despair. Is it a nation of saints or sinners? This documentary presents the facts and lets you decide. Ready to uncover the dark truths behind America? Number 1. The vast and divided land known as the United States of America. Stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific, America spans approximately 9.8 million square kilometers, making it the 4th largest country in the world. It shares borders with Canada to the north and Mexico to the south, while its coastline stretches nearly 20,000 kilometers, a gateway to trade, migration, and temptation alike. Despite its sheer size, America's contrasts are more than geographic. They are moral, social, and human. From the icy wilderness of Alaska, larger than Texas, California, and Montana combined, to the tropical islands of Hawaii, America's landscapes are as fragmented as its people. About 40% of its territory is forested, 20% agricultural, and the rest urban. Sprawling cities where skyscrapers rise beside tents of the unhoused. You could say it's a nation built on extremes. With a population of over 333 million, America ranks as the 3rd most populated country, home to more than 200 ethnic origins and 350 spoken languages. What makes America truly unique is its ability to blend contradiction into identity. A country that celebrates freedom yet struggles to control the substances consuming its youth. The diversity runs deeper than language. From Hispanic street parades in Miami to native powwows in Montana, every culture leaves a mark on the national rhythm. Yet, surprisingly, there's no official national language, only English by convention. Interestingly, Americans measure life not just in miles and dollars, but in moments of resilience. Despite its wealth, its true story isn't found in Manhattan's skyline, but in the quiet suburbs and back alleys where survival feels like a daily ritual. What makes America truly remarkable and tragic is this duality, a paradise of dreams that breeds its own despair. Number 2. The pressure to cope. In America, the land of ambition, the race for success begins early and never really ends. By the age of 18, the average student has taken more than 100 standardized tests, a silent measurement of worth in a system obsessed with achievement. Yet behind those smiling graduation photos lies a rising storm. Nearly 1 in 4 adults now suffers from anxiety or depression, according to national data. What makes it worse is the pace of life. Cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago pulse 24 hours a day, leaving little room for rest or reflection. While stress-related illnesses cost the economy over $300 billion annually. You could say the mind itself has become collateral damage in the pursuit of perfection. While other cultures embrace community as medicine, America often prescribes pills. Over 50 million people take psychiatric medication each day, more than the entire population of Spain. Interestingly, this normalization of dependency didn't start with fentanyl. It started with the belief that productivity defines identity. The paradox is chilling. In a nation that celebrates freedom, millions quietly live imprisoned by pressure. Every overdose, every pill swallowed in silence, speaks of a country struggling not just with addiction, but with the unbearable weight of expectation. Comment number 2, if you've ever felt the pressure to keep going when your mind was already breaking. Number 3, families in collapse. For generations, America built its identity around the nuclear family. 2 parents, 2 kids, a home with a white picket fence. But today, that image feels more like nostalgia than reality. Nearly 1 in 3 children in America now grows up in a single-parent household, the highest rate in the developed world. Divorce, economic pressure, and addiction have quietly redefined what family means. The fentanyl epidemic doesn't just claim lives, it dismantles households. In towns across Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, entire communities have lost parents to overdoses, leaving grandparents to raise children who barely understand what happened. Over 1.6 million children currently live with relatives instead of parents, many because of substance-related deaths or incarceration. While family dinners once symbolized connection, they've become reminders of absence. You could say the table has more empty chairs than ever before. Despite this, what's fascinating is the resilience that follows. Neighbors becoming guardians, strangers turning into family, and local churches stepping in when the system cannot. In contrast to cultures where extended families remain intact, America's independence sometimes becomes its own undoing. Love here often fights against distance, work, and survival. Behind closed doors, the battle isn't just against drugs. It's against loneliness, memory, and silence. Would you dare to believe that the strongest families can still break from within? Comment number 3 if you've witnessed a family fall apart and somehow rebuild. Number 4, Pharma's Golden Empire. Every empire has its kings, and in America, they wear white coats and corporate suits. The pharmaceutical industry generates over $600 billion annually, accounting for nearly half of the global drug market. What began as a pursuit to cure pain evolved into one of the most profitable businesses in human history. In the 1990s, companies promoted synthetic opioids as safe, convincing doctors to prescribe them for everything from surgery to back pain. By 2012, American physicians had written over 255 million opioid prescriptions, enough for every adult in the nation to have their own bottle. Pain became a product, and suffering turned into sales. What's fascinating is the paradox. While America champions innovation and life-saving breakthroughs, it also manufactured a substance that has killed more citizens than most wars combined. In 2023 alone, over 74,000 deaths were linked to fentanyl, a synthetic drug 50 times stronger than heroin. Despite lawsuits and billion-dollar settlements, the cycle continues. New drugs replace old ones. Dependency shifts shape, but not direction. You could say this empire doesn't collapse. It mutates. While other countries fight disease, America fights its own creations. The pills meant to heal have become ghosts haunting medicine cabinets, classrooms and small towns alike. And somewhere between compassion and capitalism, the line blurred forever. Comment number 4. If you think healing should never come with a price tag. Number 5. The streets of survival. Beneath the neon signs and billboards of prosperity, another America lives in the shadows. On any given night, more than 653,000 people sleep without a home, the highest homelessness rate among developed nations. In cities like Los Angeles, entire blocks known as Skid Row stretch for miles, lined with tents, tarps, and fading memories of better days. You could say the streets have become both a shelter and a battlefield. Addiction fuels survival, and survival demands addiction. Fentanyl, cheap, potent, and deadly, circulates like currency. A single dose costing less than $10 can numb pain, hunger, or heartbreak, but it often ends in silence. In 2024 alone, over 100,000 overdose deaths painted a grim map across America's states. Despite billions spent on housing programs, the cycle persists. While new condos rise beside encampments, the gap between rich and poor widens like a wound that never closes. What's fascinating is how the streets themselves have evolved. Pop-up clinics offering clean needles, mobile morgues working quietly at night, and outreach workers risking everything to save strangers. In contrast to other nations where homelessness remains rare, America's crisis feels self-made, the byproduct of a system where survival depends on being seen, yet the unseen multiply every day. Would you dare to walk these streets after dark? Comment number 5 if you believe every city hides its own forgotten world. Number 6. The digital highway. Once upon a time, drugs were traded in dark alleys. Today they move through glowing screens. The fentanyl epidemic in America isn't confined to backstreets. It's wired into the internet itself. Through encrypted apps, private chat rooms, and social media platforms, synthetic pills travel faster than any police force can track. The DEA estimates that over 80% of fentanyl transactions now begin online, often disguised as harmless emojis or casual conversations. What's terrifying is how simple it's become. Teenagers as young as 15 can order lethal doses through platforms like Snapchat or Telegram, paying with cryptocurrency and receiving a package that looks like an ordinary envelope. Each pill, pressed to resemble legal medication, can kill with just 2 milligrams, less than a pinch of sugar. Despite massive tech crackdowns, the market adapts. Dealers change usernames faster than authorities can react. Algorithms meant to sell shoes and music now unintentionally funnel buyers toward counterfeit drugs. You could say America's new black market has no streets, only servers. In contrast to traditional smuggling routes, this trade is borderless, invisible, and almost impossible to contain. Interestingly, it mirrors the country's obsession with convenience. Everything, from groceries to death, can now be delivered to your door. Would you dare to believe that the deadliest corner in America isn't physical, but digital? Comment number 6 if this reality shocks you. Number 7. Faith and forgiveness. In a nation that prints, "In God we trust," on every dollar, America's struggle with faith runs deeper than belief. It's about redemption. From small-town churches to urban recovery centers, religion and rehabilitation often walk hand in hand. Yet, for those caught in the fentanyl web, forgiveness is a complicated journey. Every Sunday, across more than 350,000 churches, prayers rise for lost sons, missing daughters, and those still fighting the pull of the needle. In cities like Cincinnati and Baltimore, faith-based recovery homes offer shelter and counseling, blending scripture with science. Studies show that addicts involved in spiritual programs are 30% more likely to stay clean after a year. You could say hope here is measured not in miracles, but in mornings survived. What's fascinating is how faith evolves with crisis. Traditional sermons give way to group therapy, while priests and pastors learn the language of trauma and relapse. Despite this compassion, many still face judgment, whispers in pews, silence in workplaces, eyes that turn away. While other nations may rely on community elders or rituals for healing, America's recovery often begins under stained glass windows. Between guilt and grace, the human spirit searches for light. Would you forgive yourself if the world refused to? Comment number 7 if you believe everyone deserves a second chance. Number 8. Funerals without farewell. In towns across America, the dead no longer always receive the ceremonies they deserve. The fentanyl crisis has created a generation of funerals without families, rushed services, empty pews, and names read aloud over trembling hands. In 2023 alone, over 74,000 deaths were linked to synthetic opioids, leaving communities to mourn at a scale most cannot comprehend. What makes this reality especially haunting is the youth affected. In cities like Philadelphia and Detroit, teenagers bury friends as often as grandparents. Crematoriums work overtime, sometimes handling 3 times the usual volume in certain counties. Hospitals report families who cannot afford traditional services, relying on temporary memorials, or even simply photographs taped to walls. You could say grief has become industrialized. Despite these hardships, rituals persist. Candles are lit on sidewalks, murals painted on abandoned walls, and vigils held beneath streetlights. It's a paradox. While America is known for its spectacle, the quiet mourning of its overdose victims is both intimate and invisible. Interestingly, these improvised ceremonies have become a lifeline for communities, a way to claim dignity where statistics might strip it away. While grief is universal, the scale of loss here creates an eerie new normal, where death becomes almost routine. Yet every life lost carries a story that refuses to be forgotten. Would you attend a vigil for someone you never met, yet whose fate mirrors the unseen tragedies around you? Comment number 8 if you believe remembrance matters. Number 9, the underground trade. Beneath the highways, railways, and shipping ports of America, a hidden network moves silently and efficiently. Fentanyl doesn't appear on store shelves. It travels through a shadow economy spanning borders, dark alleys, and hidden labs. According to federal reports, over 90% of illicit fentanyl in the U.S. originates from overseas, arriving through mail, parcel services, and even drones. What's fascinating is the sophistication of this underground market. Small-scale operations blend chemistry, logistics, and digital communication. A single lab in Mexico or China can produce enough fentanyl to kill millions, yet remains nearly invisible. Dealers often hide shipments inside candy, vitamins, or even Halloween decorations, turning everyday objects into instruments of death. Despite law enforcement seizures totaling hundreds of kilograms annually, demand continues to rise. Social media, encrypted messaging apps, and anonymous payment methods make tracing transactions nearly impossible. You could say it's a perfect storm. Supply meets vulnerability in a system designed for convenience. While other nations battle localized trafficking, America's underground trade thrives across states and counties, blurring lines between borders. Every pill, every shipment tells a story of desperation, innovation, and exploitation. Do you think the government can ever fully dismantle this network? Comment number 9 if you believe the invisible trade is the deadliest threat no one talks about. Number 10, escaping reality. In America, entertainment often serves as both escape and mask. From bustling nightclubs in Las Vegas to suburban basements hosting underground raves, the culture of partying has intertwined with the fentanyl crisis in unsettling ways. In 2023, over 20% of overdose deaths occurred during social events, where drugs were consumed casually, sometimes unknowingly. What's more interesting is the rise of fake pills, synthetic opioids pressed to mimic prescription medication, often sold alongside alcohol at parties. Teens and young adults, believing they are safe, ingest substances measured in milligrams that can kill dozens. You could say the pursuit of fun has become a high-stakes gamble. Despite this danger, nightlife remains a central part of American culture. From jazz clubs in New Orleans to electronic music festivals in Miami, social bonding through music, dance, and camaraderie persists. The paradox is stark. America celebrates freedom of expression, yet that freedom sometimes leads straight into harm. Interestingly, some cities now offer on-site testing for substances at events, a cautious attempt to reduce deaths without ending the culture. While partying may feel universal, in America, it carries an unseen risk that transforms fleeting joy into permanent tragedy. Would you dare attend a party knowing the odds of accidental overdose? Comment number 10 if you think nightlife can survive unscathed in a nation facing its deadliest crisis. Number 11. Cost of living in America. America is becoming a top choice for young professionals and students seeking opportunity. But the price of survival can be staggering. Compared to cities like London, Tokyo, and Sydney, living expenses in smaller U.S. metros can be nearly half, though major hubs remain among the world's most expensive. Housing costs vary dramatically. A one-bedroom apartment in New York City's city center averages $3,200 per month, while outside the center it drops to around $2,100. In contrast, cities like Austin or Denver offer similar apartments for $1,600, $2,000 in the center, while $400 outside. Utilities for a single person average $150 to $200 monthly, covering electricity, heating, and water. Food prices follow suit. Weekly groceries for one person hover around $70, $100, and a standard restaurant dinner ranges from $15, $40, depending on location. Transportation spans ride-hailing and public options. A 5 to 10 kilometer ride via Uber or Lyft costs about $8 to $15, while public transport monthly passes are around $70, $120. Monthly car rentals average $400, $600, not including insurance or fuel. Other services include gym memberships for $40 to $80 monthly, laundry at $3-5 per gallon, and basic health care visits averaging $150, $300, with a budget of around $3,000, $3,500 per month. You can fully enjoy urban living with cultural access, nightlife, and convenience. This is why more and more young professionals, students, and remote workers are choosing America as their temporary or long-term home, drawn by opportunity, culture, and lifestyle, despite the financial balancing act required to navigate its cities. The human cost. Behind every statistic lies a story. In America, the fentanyl crisis has claimed over 500,000 lives in the past decade, leaving families fractured and communities grieving. Each death represents parents, siblings, or children left behind, struggling to understand a world that moved on too quickly. Hospitals report that emergency rooms treat over 100,000 overdose cases annually, stretching resources to their limits. First responders witness scenes most could never imagine. A young adult clutching a phone with a final message unsent. A parent discovering the empty pill bottle that ended a life. You could say the tragedy is as invisible as it is omnipresent. Interestingly, the crisis also impacts economics and social services. Child welfare agencies see caseloads spike as 1 in 20 children are removed from homes affected by addiction. Community programs attempt to bridge gaps, but for every life saved, another is lost. A stark reminder of the crisis's relentless scale. While America continues to innovate and prosper on the global stage, the human toll of fentanyl cannot be ignored. Every life lost reflects a larger story of pain, resilience, and the need for awareness. Comment number 13. If you know someone whose story reflects this crisis, your words matter. A nation of innovation, contradiction, and resilience. Did any of these truths surprise you? Or do you know stories that reveal a side of America we didn't cover? Share your thoughts, experiences, and reflections in the comments below. Your voice helps keep these stories alive. If this documentary sparked your curiosity about America's hidden realities, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration. Join us as we continue uncovering the world's untold stories.